Hey guys, my name is Jason with Mount Baker Mining and Metals, and on today's video I'm going to demonstrate the 6" by 30" jaw crusher here behind me. We sell a lot of these units to granite countertop shops who crush their remnants and their waste through this machine so they don't have to dump it in the landfill and they can sell the product as gravel. So let's go take a look at some of our samples, then we'll put them through the jaw crusher here. They'll come crushed down into this green bin and we'll take a look. So here's the samples we're going to be running today, and there's two different types. There's a natural stone, which is here on my left, and then there's a man-made product called quartz that's here on my right. And I've split them into the two separate types. We're going to run the natural stone first, and I've actually broken the natural stone down further into a couple different samples. I've got the white stuff here in the front, and then I've got some colored stone in the back that will run separate to show you how you can either run it all through and sell it as gravel, or if you want to sort by color. A lot of our customers get a premium on gravel that's sorted into different colors like black and green and brown and white, for example. And then once we're done with the natural stone, we'll come over to our quartz and we'll crush that through the crusher, and I'll show you how that looks. Just a little bit closer look here. This is that natural stone. Comes out of the ground, they mine it. This is all of our white stuff, and then I have three different samples. This is kind of like a dark gray, yellow, brown mix. I've got a brown color here, and then I've got a little bit of black that will run separate. Here's our natural white stone that we crushed, and it's about a 3/4 inch product. But like I said, this is all the same color, and it crushed down real nice. It was about as fast as we could feed it. You can open the jaws a little bit more if you wanted a coarser crush, but a lot of people want this fine 3/4 minus crush for decorative stone, landscape, mulch, filling potholes in their driveways, whatever. So there's the natural stone, white. Now we'll run three different samples of the black, brown, and gray, and we'll show you how those compare. Here are the 4 colored samples that we sorted. Here's the white stuff that we crushed earlier on, and I've gotten them all wet so you can see the color, and it washed off the dust. But we've got the white, then the brown really comes out. You can really see the colors, and when they're sorted, you can envision them as a landscape mulch, all the same color. This is a really cool one, kind of a black, gray, and off-white, and then the black here really just sparkles in the sunlight. So that's an example of sorting them, or some of our customers just mix it all together, crush it all down into gravel, and sell it as gravel. And here's a quick look at our quartz samples. There's a bunch of different types in here, but they're all essentially little pieces of rock. Like this one, they can mix glass in them, rock dust, and then they mix them with a polymer plastic type of thing that binds them all together, and they get these nice smooth countertops. Some of these pieces are real big, but as long as they'll fit down through our 30-inch wide jaw crusher mouth, the crusher will crush them up real nice. All right, this is our quartz engineered stone. Went through the crusher. It's a little bit harder to crush. I don't know, harder is the right word. It seems like it has a little more give than natural stone. It's a little more flexible, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. So it just crushes slower, but everything went through and crushed to this really nice, fine product. And same thing, you can use it for landscape mulch, gravel, whatever. But if nothing else, you really, really reduced your volume and turned your waste into a product that you can now turn around and sell. And we developed this product specifically for the granite industry, but also we're finding that it is real appealing to the asphalt and concrete guys, and also panel glass, and pretty much anything long and skinny that you need a real wide crusher, but not real thick, that you can feed a large slab down into and get a nice 1 inch or 3/4 inch minus product. So here's some of the samples we're gonna do today. We have 2 different samples of granite. This is a natural stone product here. We also have some of this man-made quartz product, this lighter colored stuff, as well as on the far side we have some slabs of concrete we're gonna run down through. natural stone test through the jaw crusher. And this is about 1.5 inches minus crush. This is what the customer wanted. This crusher can go up to about 2 inch or all the way down to about a 3/4 inch minus discharge. And we estimated here you have about 400 pounds of granite that we crushed. Took us about a minute, and I couldn't keep up with the crusher. I could barely get things in as fast as it was crushing. So we conservatively figure at this size crush, we're getting about 12 tons an hour. And so now we're going to run the quartz through and see how that compares. From our quartz test we did through the 6x30. And as you can see, it still had a nice crush, same with the natural stone. It took a little bit longer though. We did the same amount of volume, but it took 1.5 minutes instead of a minute like with the natural stone. So it took about 50% longer. The quartz is a little bit harder to crush, but the crusher still did a great job and created a good product the customer can still use. Now we're going to move on to the concrete sample and see how that one goes. So here's the results from our concrete sample. And as you can see, the crusher did a great job, made a real nice product. Concrete's a little bit softer than granite and quartz, so it makes some more fines. We did the same amount of volume as the granite and stuff, so and it took about a minute, so we're still within that about 10 to 12 tons an hour range. So here we're looking at the hopper for the scrap granite system, and we've designed this to be about 6x6, so you can take a whole hopper of scrap granite and dump it in, and then it will evenly feed down in the jaw crusher. We've designed it to take up to about a 28-inch piece, so sink cutouts and stuff like that you can feed in here. The hopper vibrates and it evenly feeds out the material down into the 6x30 jaw crusher here, which crushes it down to about 1/2 to 3/4 inch minus. So once the material is crushed in the jaw crusher, it comes down here onto this conveyor, and the conveyor transports it up to a height of about 6 feet, where it can go off into a bin or a tote or a pile. So you can see that crushed it up pretty nice. So I wanted to show you guys the startup operation for the diesel. So you turn the key, and once the glow plugs shut off, you can start the diesel. The throttle here can be adjusted in or out for the correct RPM. We found that running about 15 or 1600 RPM on the tack is just about right, which equates to about 275 to 300 RPM to the jaw crushers themselves. And then around here is the clutch mechanism. And so once the RPM is correct on the tack for the diesel motor, you can come around and slowly engage the flywheels on the jaw crusher. And once those start spinning around, you can fully engage the clutch and get full power to the jaw crusher itself. So now let's go around and we'll take a look at the electrical. So this customer wants the unit to be mobile, and also he doesn't have three-phase power at all of his locations. So that's why we have the diesel powering the jaw crusher, but then we have a phase converter here so that he can run single-phase power in and then three-phase power to the motors. And we have three different motors, the conveyor, and then the two vibrating motors, which need three-phase power. And so the phase converter takes care of that. So now let's go take a look at the adjustment to the vibrating hopper. So the vibrating hopper can be adjusted two different ways. There's a fine adjustment here on the phase converter itself. And the hertz can be adjusted up or down to adjust the vibration of the motor. For a coarser adjustment, you can come back here once the machine is off, take off the covers of the motors here, and you can adjust the weights on the motor shafts themselves to get a coarser adjustment to make it shake harder. When these are wired correctly, the spin is opposite each other, which forces the material towards the jaw crusher. If they're both spinning the same way, the material won't move, so they need to be wired to opposite so that the material gets pushed into the jaw crusher itself. So now we'll go take a look at the jaw crusher maintenance. Now we're looking at the back of the 6x30 jaw crusher, and we can go over some simple things here. There's grease fittings here along the back of the movable jaw and one over there. And greasing about once a day is fine. And when the machine is new, you want to make sure that you build up a bead of grease here, which creates a seal and keeps the dust out. So in the first couple of days of operation, make sure that a bead of grease is built up here. It doesn't need to be flinging off the shaft, but that's what creates the seal for the bearings. To adjust the jaw gap, these plates are spacers which push out the shuttle and the toggle, and conversely drives the jaw plates forward. So to increase the gap, you would take out some of these plates, which would pull all this back and open up the jaw plate. After that's done, this is the tensioning rod. This either needs to be tightened or loosened depending on the adjustment to the jaw plate. If the jaw plate is opened up, this needs to be tightened to keep tension on the whole assembly back here so that it's not flopping around. These bolts here and here keep tension on the plates, and if you are going to add or remove plates, you loosen these bolts, and this large bolt pushes the whole mechanism forward. Then you would back this off a couple turns so you could pull these plates out. So that's in a nutshell how you adjust the jaw gap and the easy maintenance on the 6x30 jaw crusher. The conveyor maintenance is pretty easy. There's 6 bearings on the unit. There's 2 here on the idler pulley, 2 on the tail pulley, and 2 on the head pulley. And the one other thing you want to keep an eye on is the gearbox. There's a little sight glass on the far side for the oil level. So just make sure the gearbox has oil and there's no weeps or leaks out of the gearbox. Alright guys, well thanks for watching our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, you can find our contact information in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.